Okay, so right after being processed, plastic water bottles aren't the size you buy at the store. Even a gallon water bottle starts its life as a small tube. Later, it gets heated, inflated, and shaped into the bottle you know. Boy, I can relate to the heated and inflated part. Now, not all potato chips are actually fried potato slices. Some companies use a mix of potato flakes, cornstarch, and water to produce chips. This mix is then pressed into a dough, and chips are cut out from it with the help of shape molds. Then the chips are fried, which takes about 11 seconds. After that, all excess oil gets drained and the chips are seasoned and packed. There's a legend that only 2 people in the world know the original recipe that gives Coca-Cola its signature taste. These people aren't allowed to travel together so that the recipe never gets lost. Even though it's just a popular legend, not many people are aware of all the ingredients of the world-famous drink. One of them used to be the cola nut. Hey, I used to be a cola nut. You can find these nuts inside the fruit of the cola tree. Each fruit is about the size of a chestnut and has between 2 and 5 cola nuts inside. The cola fruit and nuts are packed with caffeine. Nowadays, Coca-Cola is said to no longer contain the cola nut extract. It's rumored to have been replaced with artificial flavoring. But since the drink's recipe is such a closely guarded secret, no one knows for sure. Hey, maybe we can ask Pepsi. These days, it's quite simple to make a mirror. Producers take a regular sheet of glass as a base. Then they apply a reflective coating. This usually means spraying a thin layer of either silver or aluminum onto the back of the sheet of glass. This process is called silvering. Some kinds of car wax contain carnauba wax, also called Brazil wax. That's a vegetable wax people get from the fronds of the carnauba tree growing in Brazil. To get the wax, the leaves of this tree first get dried and then beaten. Ooh, ooh, ow, ow! This is how you can remove the powdery wax. Now, pencils. First, their leads are made by mixing clay and graphite powder. This mixture is then baked. After that, pencil bodies are made. If they're wooden, the material should be chosen carefully. It should be soft enough to sharpen, but tough enough not to break. When the pre-cut sections are delivered to the factory, they have grooves cut in them. These grooves will later accommodate the leads. Then special glue is added. This way the leads will stay in place. Next, every second section is sent to a special conveyor, and the leads are placed in the grooves. Then another section is glued to the one filled with leads. We get a large multi-pencil sandwich. Sandwich, I'm getting hungry. The 2 parts of this sandwich get compressed and cut lengthwise. Then they're shaped and form separate pencils. Lava lamps were invented in the middle of the 20th century. The magic happening inside is due to the right amount and type of ingredients. 2 of them are oil and paraffin wax. The oil helps the wax heat up, and once it's heated, it starts rising up slowly. Once the blob reaches the surface, it cools down and sinks back to the bottom. Now, nutmeg is a strongly flavored spice used in many cuisines all over the globe. Despite its name, nutmeg isn't a nut. It's technically a seed native to the Spice Islands and East Indies tropical islands. Nutmeg grows on trees, and the seed itself is sealed in a shell. Once it's ripe, the outer shell cracks open. Chocolate comes from the cacao tree, which is native to the Amazon. These trees also grow in Central and South America and some other tropical climates in Africa and Asia. The seeds of the cacao tree are very bitter. They have to be fermented to develop the flavor you're used to. After this process, the beans get dried, cleaned, and roasted. The shell is removed, and crumbled bits of dried cocoa beans are ground to cocoa mass. This mass is then used in the production of all kinds of chocolatey things. In the past, people used to chew different types of aromatic substances, including beeswax, tree resin, or even aromatic twigs. But modern-day chewing gum is made of a natural latex-like ingredient called chicle. It gets extracted from trees. Modern marbles are made from glass. The first step is to melt recycled glass and previously rejected marbles that turned out to be too small or too big. About 15 hours later, the molten glass is ready for processing. A special cutter bar moves through the stream of liquid glass every half a second. It separates small pieces of glass. They're future marbles called slugs. The faster the cutter bar moves, the smaller the marbles are. After that, the still hot slugs are sent through several constantly rotating metal rollers. They keep the slugs apart and also cool them. These ridged rollers also give the marbles their spherical shape. As for the marble's final coloring, it's determined already at the melting stage. That's when the air passes the coloring through the glass. You can find springs everywhere, from tools, electronics, and toys to pens and mattresses. They come in different forms, for example, torsion, wire, extension, or compression springs. When a spring is made, a steel cord is passed to a dereeler. How thick this cord is depends on what kind of spring we need. The dereeler unwinds the roll and sends the cord to a computer-controlled forming machine. That's where the cord gets coiled to the needed length and cut into pieces. Now, to produce tomato ketchup, one of my favorites, you need tomato paste or puree, sugar, or some other natural sweetener, salt, spices, vinegar, and onion powder. First, the needed volume of the tomato paste is heated while being constantly stirred. Then other ingredients are added as well. Before the ketchup is bottled, it has to go through several cooling stages. Meanwhile, bottles are already aligned and waiting to be filled with the ketchup. This usually happens automatically. At the end of this process, caps and labels are added to the bottles. Cashew nuts are rich in plant protein, healthy fats, and fiber, and low in sugar. But they're some of the most expensive nuts out there, and no wonder. The cashew tree, native to tropical regions of Brazil, produces a long stalk called a cashew apple. It resembles a small pear. Well then, why don't they just call it a cashew pear? Anyway, at the end of this stalk, there's a kidney-shaped nut. It's protected by a double shell that contains a poisonous oily substance. It's the main reason cashews aren't sold in their shells like peanuts or pistachios. Cashews need to be dried and roasted first. This removes the toxins and makes the shell brittle and much easier to remove. Nail polish, as we know it today, is a rather modern invention. It became popular at the beginning of the 20th century. Different companies use different kinds of chemicals and ingredients to produce nail polish. But one of these ingredients is always the same: nitrocellulose. This substance is actually liquid, but it gets mixed with plasticizers. They make nail polish more flexible and allow you to wear it longer. The process of creating ice cream sandwiches is pretty simple. First, ice cream gets whipped. It's done to add some air. The resulting substance is then sent to the next part of the assembly. There, 2 lines of wafers are already sandwiched together, and ice cream is simultaneously injected between them. It happens so quickly that more than 100 ice cream sandwiches can be made in a minute. How many can I eat in a minute? There are all kinds of plastic brooms out there, but there's one type that's made from recycled plastic bottles. With people buying 1 million plastic bottles all over the world, it's a cool way to reuse plastic. Tires production is a multi-step process. Tires are made from more than 15 main ingredients. Among them, there's synthetic and natural rubber, carbon black pigment, and chemical additives. Giant mixers stir these ingredients under high pressure and temperature. The final result is almost always thin rubber gum. It gets rolled into sheets. After that, tires get assembled on a special machine. Different kinds of cloth, rubber, and metal are used for the production of a tire. Finally, the tire gets cured in a special press under more than 300 degrees of heat and high pressure. This process lasts for 12 to 15 minutes. When they make darts, the flight shafts are produced first. 10-foot-long aluminum rods are put into a special machine. It has a few cutting tools that work from several angles at the same time. The rod turns into shafts. There are threads cut into each flight shaft so that it can be later attached to the dart barrel. That's the part you hold and fling. On the other end, a cross saw makes slots for the arrow flights. At the same time, brass rods turn into the barrels on another machine. Grooves are cut into the barrel surface. This makes them easier to hold. And finally, they produce a dart point. It's done with the help of a hydraulic press. It forces pointed steel into the hollow part of the barrel, and darts all there is about how they make darts.
What's hiding inside Coca-Cola cans and regular household batteries? Why do magnets affect breakfast cereals? Do crosswalk buttons actually work, or are they just useless decorations? What does that USB symbol really mean? I'm not sure I know the answers to these and similar questions, but I'm eager to learn the truth together with you. Let's find it out. Coca-Cola cans have a secret few people know about. Here's a Coke can. Let's submerge it in a highly corrosive alkaline solution. The aluminum dissolves due to a process known as hydrolysis, and we can see a plastic liner inside the can. It's made from a polymer or epoxy resin and serves as some kind of a protective barrier between the aluminum walls of the can and the rather acidic soda. Despite a popular myth, household batteries don't actually contain liquid, and if you accidentally cut them open, no toxic liquid will spill. Most of them are dry cell batteries, which are made of electrochemical cells. Those convert chemical energy into electrical energy. Larger batteries often house numerous small cells within them too. Even Tesla vehicle batteries consist of multiple small cells. When combined, they easily provide the necessary voltage. Most toothbrushes have differently colored bristles, but they aren't just pleasing to the eye. Those bristles, often blue, have a functional purpose. They're called toothbrush indicators, and their colors fade as you use the brush. The American Dental Association recommends changing your toothbrush at least 4 times a year. And by getting paler, these bristles help you figure out when it's time to replace your toothbrush. You'll probably agree that there's no better snack than a pack of chips. Some are flat, others have ridges. Is it just aesthetics? Not really. The main purpose of those lines on some kinds of chips is to help with the distribution of spices and seasonings. In other words, all those substances that make your chips taste like cheese are mostly stored inside the lines. Plus, the lines make chips crunchier. Now this one might be a surprise, but some breakfast cereals are magnetic. That's because they're often fortified with iron in the form of a fine powder. Due to the added iron, cereal flakes get attracted to magnets. All this may sound kinda alarming, but in reality, the iron content in the flakes is minimal and doesn't pose any threat to your health. That clear fluid in gel pens is called the ink follower or stopper fluid. The gel in such pens contains pigment particles dissolved in a polymer solution. The main task of the stopper fluid is to be a barrier to prevent the gel from evaporating or leaking out. Without this transparent fluid, your gel pen wouldn't function. The fluid always stays in one position and doesn't get dissolved with the gel. Neither does it move backwards or flow out of the pen. Many pedestrian crosswalk buttons, namely in New York, are placebo buttons. They do literally nothing when you press them. Originally, they were functional after being introduced in 1964, but today, most of them don't affect traffic lights, which are programmed based on the real needs of the traffic flow. Why do such buttons even exist then? It's a simple psychological trick, providing you with an illusion of control. You might have noticed that movie theater seats are almost always red. This choice isn't random, it has strategic importance, which is rooted in visual science. The thing is, red light has a longer wavelength. It means that it's the first color to disappear in low light. It allows the audience to concentrate better on the screen once the movie begins. Such a design choice enhances the viewing experience by minimizing distractions. Speed bumps are crucial for pedestrian safety, but at the same time, they can seriously increase car emissions due to the non-stop acceleration and deceleration they cause. To address this issue, some cities like London are testing fake speed bumps. Those are optical illusions painted on the road. They look raised from a driver's perspective, but in reality, they're flat. Authorities hope that this approach will slow down drivers without having a negative impact on the environment. Soda bottles are always filled in such a way that there's some space between the liquid and the cap. That's because soda contains carbon dioxide. It's a gas that can expand once the bottle's heated. If there's no gap in the bottle, it can break because of the pressure building inside. Also, when you open your drink, the gases go out in the form of bubbles, making the drink overflow. The gap helps with this problem too. The USB symbol, looking like a trident, has always sparked multiple speculations about its origin. One popular idea is that it represents Neptune's trident and symbolizes power and adaptability. But there's also a little bit less exciting theory. A man who claimed to have designed the symbol in the 1980s stated that it was supposed to represent connectivity. The large circle symbolizes a computer, while the attached shapes, the circle, the triangle, and square, stand for different outputs. The design of a tennis racket has a specific feature known as the throat. It's an open space below the head of the racket. This space isn't just for storing balls, it also improves the racket's aerodynamics by letting air pass through. It seriously reduces drag during swings. Speaking of tennis courts are usually built with a north-south orientation. It helps minimize the impact of the sun's position during the game, ensuring that neither player has the sun directly in their eyes. Look closely at a tram's overhead lines, and you'll see that its contact wires zigzag back and forth instead of going in a straight line. That's because all trams have pantographs attached to their roofs. The upper part of the pantograph is gradually worn down by the overhead wire and eventually needs to be replaced. To wear it down evenly, the wire is not installed strictly along the tram's path, but in zigzag patterns. As the tram moves, the pantograph slides along the wire, and it wears down evenly. Those cone-shaped water cooler cups? Their shape is intentionally designed to prevent users from setting the cups down. This allows employees to minimize the risk of spilling water on their desks around various electronic devices. Plus, less material is used to produce cone-shaped cups, which makes the process less wasteful and more cost-effective. It also kinda supports sustainability by encouraging people to drink their water quickly and dispose of their cups immediately after. Most suitcases have 2 zipper pulls, and it serves several purposes. First of all, if one zipper fails, the other can keep the suitcase closed. Even better, having 2 zippers allows you to have easier access to small sections of your suitcase without having to open it entirely. And finally, when you have 2 zippers, you can connect them with a padlock for increased security. Some plastic milk containers have dents on their sides. These dents serve several purposes. When milk spoils, it usually causes swelling and high-pressure buildup inside the container. That's when the dent pops out and doesn't let the jug blow up. Plus, if you decide to freeze the milk, it will expand like any other fluid. And then again, the indentation will pop out and prevent the container from breaking inside your freezer. If you ever had a problem figuring out why fake pockets exist, you need to hear this. The main reason is that if a clothing item has a specific cut or shape, pockets may spoil it. They can alter the item's shape either in the warehouse or already on the retail rack. The solution? Getting rid of the pockets in key areas. Plus, fake pockets are obviously cheaper, and they don't get stretched out. The thermos wasn't actually invented to keep your coffee warm. It was made by a Scottish scientist who wanted a safe place to keep his chemicals at a stable temperature. So, he took 2 bottles, put the smaller one inside the bigger bottle, and vacuumed out the air between them.
Have you ever wondered what these extra holes at the top of your running shoes are for? They're designed so that you can tie the shoes in multiple different ways. That's useful when you want to compensate for things such as a bad stride or even a damaged toe. Plus, you can change the look of your shoes the way you prefer. Many people use a dust jacket of their book as a bookmarker. No problem with that, it will save your book from bent page corners. But the primary purpose of a dust cover is to keep the book safe from distortions. For instance, if you spill juice or drop some of the food on your book while reading it. The Tic Tac dispenser has this little groove on its top, so you can dispense only 1 Tic Tac at a time. Even though, let's be honest here, nobody does that. most of us just spill a whole bunch at once, and then we wiggle all those extra Tic Tacs back in. Those rubber bumps you see between the tire treads are there for your safety. The raised edges tell you what the minimum height of your tread is. If the bump and the edges are even, it's time for you to visit the tire shop as soon as possible. But if the bumps are well beneath the level of the edges, you're good to go. What about that black grating on the microwave window? It's something called a Faraday shield, and it's there to prevent microwaves from getting away and turning the entire room into a Faraday cage. If the microwaves escape, your meal won't cook properly either. So yep, the cage is not there to make it difficult for you to see your meal while it's cooking. It's keeping the electromagnetic energy inside. How about a wrench-compatible screwdriver? Cover your screwdriver with the end of your wrench and you can increase its torque. That's why the head of your screwdriver is designed the way it is. When you have odd angles, you can use this strategy. You've probably heard those myths, the blue side of the eraser can erase the pen? False. Its purpose is to erase a pencil, but in case you're writing something on heavier paper. The blue side can remove smudges you see after using the pink eraser too. Have you ever wondered why oranges in supermarkets mostly come in the red mesh bag? It's a trick to make this food look more orange and encourage you to make a purchase. An extra tip, don't throw away the mesh bag. Tie it up so you can have a small pot scrubber to clean your sink, kitchen, appliances, and dishes. You can see golf balls don't have a perfectly round shape. Their surface is covered with many little dimples, something golf balls didn't always have. At one point, experienced golfers started noticing how, through time, older balls with imperfections, such as nicks and bumps, could travel further. Such things create turbulence in the air around the golf ball, which eventually reduces drag. So, manufacturers started producing balls with dimples so they could go farther and faster. You might have noticed that sometimes there are ridges in toothpick tops. It's more hygienic because when you break that off, you can prop the toothpick up on it, and it won't touch anything. Another safety feature you'll find, this time in your car, is a tab on your rearview mirror. With it, you can change the position of the mirror so you don't get blinded if there's a car behind you with its high beams on. So this little tab helps you control the glare of lights coming from behind. This feature showed up in the 1930s, but in the early 1970s, it became a part of standard equipment in most trucks and cars. Do you see that tiny hole on your iPhone right next to the rear-facing camera? It's a microphone, and it's there so your phone can record sound as you turn your camera around. Some cables have a thick cylinder towards the end of the cord. It's called a ferrite core or a choke. It's a magnetic iron oxide that stops high-frequency electromagnetic interference. For example, you know that annoying static noise you get if you bring your phone too close to a speaker? This interrupts your call, which is why cable cords with big cylinders are pretty useful because they prevent these things. Do you know why nearly all luggage bags and backpacks have two zippers? It's way more convenient and easier to open in that way. But not just that. You can also lock these two zippers together to keep the stuff inside your bags safer. You know how toilets at public spots like malls have those big gaps at the bottom? It's primarily for better circulation of air. This type of door also makes it easier to clean the toilet or check if it's occupied if you're standing in line. Other than that, if you get stuck there and the lock gets broken, you still have a way to escape. You can just crawl out. Ever notice those plastic end caps on utility knives? And they also have scales on them, which indicates you may use them multiple times but with sharp edges. You can separate the blades through these plastic end caps. Then, you can move the slider and bring the sharp blade to the front. If you've ever taken a moment to examine a regular grocery cart, especially their fold-out section, you probably noticed those metal loops jutting out. They're designed to protect the items you carry in your cart. You can use them to hang bags with soft items. You don't want to accidentally squish with heavier products, like bread. or easily breakable things like eggs. Many coffee mugs come with curved notches on their bottom. When you're washing your mugs, put them against the rack at an angle in your dishwasher. This way, the water won't pool in there, so your favorite cup will be completely dry by the time you take it out of the dishwasher. If you're a McFlurry fan, you've probably noticed there's a square hole in the handle of the spoon. It's there so you can attach it to the special machine that mixes the ice cream and your favorite toppings together. The machine has a bar that slips into this square-shaped spoon and then thoroughly stirs it. And you get the spoon so they can minimize the mess during the process. Quite neat, wouldn't you say? A regular milk jug has a dent on one side. Some might see it as a random design decision, but a dent has several purposes. One of them is to get bigger if there's a gas buildup. This happens when your milk is spoiled. So you don't even have to try to check this out. Also, the dent is there so the jug doesn't burst if you accidentally drop it. The dent allows the expansion space that deals with the sudden pressure that happens when you drop the jug. Dental floss. Sure, it's important for your dental health, and it's easy to assume what you do with it. But dental floss is great in the kitchen as well, because it's a very precise cake slicer, way better than a regular knife. Most kitchen shears have a serrated opening right there at the center where the blades and handles meet. It's something you can use to trim difficult herbs such as rosemary, thyme, or chives. Because of this opening, you don't need to pick the leaves off by hand, but de-stem them in one motion. The majority of gelatin containers or single-serving yogurts come with a tinfoil lid, and in most cases, you can use this covering as a disposable spoon. Just peel away the covering, and after a couple of simple folds, you'll have a perfect little spoon for your midday snack.
You're thirsty, so you crack open a soda can and take a few big gulps. Next thing you know, you're out of commission. Turns out, that can was contaminated with something nasty, like rat urine, and you had no clue. Just goes to show, you never know what might be lurking in that seemingly innocent drink. During transportation, storage, or handling, cans can pick up germs, bacteria, and dirt. When you drink straight from the can, those germs can easily enter your body. Cans are often stored in warehouses and rarely get a good cleaning before they reach you. Warehouse conditions can be pretty gross. Think rats running over them and less than ideal hygiene. To stay safe, it's a good idea to clean cans before drinking from them. Experts suggest giving them a quick wash with soap and water to avoid contamination. Studies have shown that unwashed bottles can be full of bacteria, so this step is really important. Now, quick question. Who's taken out more people, sharks or vending machines? Surprisingly, vending machines have a darker history. Let's dive in. But first, let's define what counts as a vending machine casualty. We'll rule out things like expired snacks or electric shocks. Those aren't the machine's fault. What we do count are incidents where someone was severely harmed or, what's worse, passed away from rocking or tilting the machine. For sharks, any fatal encounter counts. In a 1995 report, there were 2 severe incidents that ended up in demise and 1 serious injury linked to vending machines. Since 1978, there have been at least 37 such incidents and 113 injuries, which gives us about 2 fatalities per year. Compare that to 1 shark-related incident in 2021. However, this data is quite old. Since 2008, there haven't been any reported vending machine incidents. Why the drop? It could be due to warning signs and credit card readers reducing the need to shake machines. But remember, your risk varies based on where you live and your habits. In the end, the vending machine versus shark comparison isn't quite accurate anymore. Today, you're more likely to have a serious encounter with a shark than a vending machine. But the point remains, sharks aren't the bloodthirsty hunters they're made out to be. So, someone pointed out your visible nose hairs, and now you're looking for ways to deal with them. You might think plucking is the way to go, but hold up, it's not as safe as you think. Here are 3 solid reasons to avoid plucking your nose hair. Your nose is full of delicate nerves, follicles, and plenty of bacteria. Plucking nose hair can damage the sensitive skin inside your nostrils, letting germs in and causing issues like infections and inflammation. Also, just like with waxing, plucking nose hair can result in ingrown hairs. As the hair grows back, it might curl into the follicle, causing bumps, discomfort, and inflammation. This can lead to folliculitis, which shows up as small, pus-filled red bumps and can be itchy or painful. In severe cases, plucking nose hairs can cause nasal furunculosis, a deep follicle infection with swelling and discomfort. This infection can spread to blood vessels near the brain, potentially leading to cavernous sinus thrombosis, a condition where blood clots form behind the eye sockets. If not treated, this condition can be life-threatening and may cause permanent brain damage. To avoid these problems, go for trimming your nose hair instead. Trimming doesn't make your hair grow back thicker or faster, and it helps maintain the right amount of nose hair to keep out pathogens. Contact lenses are meant to help you see, but they can make you turn completely blind. One big no-no is wearing your contacts in the shower. It's bad for both your lenses and your eye health. Showering with contacts is like swimming or sleeping with them in. It's a common mistake. Water and contacts just don't mix. You need to keep your lenses clean to avoid any issues. If water gets behind your lens, germs or chemicals like chlorine can get in there and cause trouble. At best, you might end up with sore or itchy eyes. Worse, you could get conjunctivitis from a bacterial infection. In rare, serious cases, you might even face infections, which can sometimes lead to blindness. Most people wear contacts in the shower accidentally rather than doing it on purpose. If this happens, close your eyes right away and carefully step out of the shower to remove your lenses. If your eyes feel sore or look red afterward, contact your optometrist ASAP. Always use the cleaning solution your optometrist recommends to sterilize your lenses before putting them back in. But really, it's best to take out your contacts before showering or bathing. If there's one piece of home decor you should keep a close eye on, it's snow globes. They might seem harmless, but a family in East Hampton, Massachusetts would beg to differ. In a crazy turn of events, a snow globe sparked a fire in their apartment while no one was home. Luckily, quick-thinking neighbors and a swift response from the fire department kept the blaze from spreading through the entire complex. It was a normal Thursday morning when, around 11:30 a.m., neighbors heard smoke alarms blaring in the apartment and dialed 911. Firefighters arrived to find the place locked, so they had to force their way in. Inside, they found a small fire on the coffee table and a room filled with smoke. There, they also saw the culprit. It was a snow globe. It was sitting just right on the coffee table, and the sunlight hit it at the perfect angle, magnifying onto some cardboard and styrofoam and setting them on fire. While it's not common, fires started by magnified sunlight do happen. Many firefighters have seen blazes ignited by mirrors and magnifying glasses. So, keep those snow globes out of direct sunlight. Better safe than sorry. Alright, let's talk about fatal fruit. No, I'm not going to bore you with another lame list of the most poisonous fruits out there. Instead, I'm going to tell you about something heavenly tasty that can make you teleport to the heavens in a matter of seconds. Meet the coconut. This seemingly innocent fruit has a dark side. Coconuts are responsible for around 150 fatalities each year. These bad boys have a whole page dedicated to the fatal incidents they've caused. A full-size coconut weighs about 3 pounds 3 ounces. And if you know a thing or two about physics, you'll understand that gravity makes them even more dangerous when they fall from trees. But it's not just falling coconuts you need to worry about. Consuming large amounts of coconut water can lead to sudden cardiac arrest due to hyperkalemia, thanks to its high potassium levels. And while rare, there have been cases of anaphylaxis in people with coconut allergies. While the most common way coconuts cause harm is by falling and hitting someone, there have been some unusual incidents too. In December 1923, a man in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, passed away while trying to crack open a coconut with the butt end of a loaded revolver. It went off, and he was shot in the abdomen. You know those handy selfie sticks that help you nail the perfect shot? Turns out, they can be way more dangerous than you'd expect. These little gadgets have led to a surprising amount of injuries and even some fatalities. People have accidentally knocked themselves or others out, taken a tumble off cliffs, and even been hit by cars while trying to get that Insta-worthy pic. Some popular landmarks have even banned selfie sticks altogether. For instance, the oceanfront in Mumbai has said no to selfie sticks. India, by the way, leads the world in selfie-related deaths. Nearly 40% of the 49 globally recorded fatalities over the past 3 years happened there. If you still think selfie accidents aren't a big deal, consider this. From 2008 to mid-2021, a staggering 379 people lost their lives while trying to get that perfect shot. So yeah, it's definitely something to take seriously.
You see these blades? They have notched corners to make your cutting experience smoother. Ooh! The front edge notch helps with separating blades during manufacturing, while the trailing edge notch helps the blade glide easily. And a fun fact, that notch on the front also helps you spot unused sections of the blade. Just a little visual indicator to make your life easier. When it comes to silver versus black blades, they're both made from the same stuff. But black blades are sharper and are better suited for cutting through tough materials, while silver blades strike a balance between cutting power and durability. If you want that extra cutting oomph, go for black. Oh, almost forgot. The only thing those blades aren't meant to cut is food. It has a rust-proofing oil coating, which is not safe for humans. Check this one out. It's totally giving me childhood vibes. Now, I remember my grandma having tomato-shaped pincushions just like this, and sometimes they would look more like a salad, with a little pepper thrown in there. Well, believe it or not, this salad actually has a purpose. The tomato keeps your pins in place, while the pepper keeps them sharp. Those peppers are filled with sand, which helps keep your pins nice and sharp. And it's not just sand. Crushed walnuts can also be used to keep your pins in tip-top shape. Now look at this multiple pocket tool and this little hook on it. It's a bit of a mystery, but it's actually pretty handy. I counted at least 4 different applications. 1. You can use it to carry all sorts of awkward stuff, like camping gear or heavy parcels. 2. Need to twist some wire or play around with knots? The parcel hook has got you covered. 3. This hook can save the day with those stubborn zippers, like the ones on your luggage. 4. It's great for pretending to be a budget version of Captain Hook. If you know more applications, let me know in the comments. Apple users, with this feature, you'll never get laundry surprises again. Now, I bet you've had this situation at least once in your life. You wash your stuff, and when you take it out of the washing machine, the size seems to only fit your cat. Your iPhone camera can actually translate those funky laundry symbols for you. There are 2 requirements though. You must have iOS 17, and your phone must be in English. Take a photo of the care label, go to the Photos app, and see the details of the image. Everything will be automatically decoded and explained to you. Now, many toasters come with nifty removable crumb trays at the bottom. It's super important to give these trays a good clean every now and then to keep your toaster running smoothly and avoid any potential fire hazards. Just pop them out, shake out the crumbs, and you're good to go. Where you shake them out is up to you. Those little compartments on your gas pump aren't just for show. They're actually there to hold your cap while you're filling up. This nifty feature keeps things tidy and prevents any spills or drips on the handle. So, say goodbye to messy refueling experiences and hello to a cleaner pump. Plus, it makes the whole process way more convenient and efficient. Now, I'll bet your oven gets so greasy and dirty sometimes that you can even hear it oink. Just kidding. I know you're a tidy person. Anyway, if you're looking for a way to bring your kitchen cleaning to a whole new level, here's a tip for you. Most oven doors have handy latches that let you pop the door off for easy cleaning, saving your poor back from the strain. When you're draining noodles or potatoes, there's no need to bother transferring everything to a colander in the sink. Just throw the colander right into the pot, hold it down, and pour the liquid out. It makes life so much easier, especially when you want to save that starchy water for recipes. It's a must for authentic pasta, by the way. So let's say you've snagged this gem at a thrift store a while back for just under $1. It's seen better days, serving as an ashtray, but you decide it's time to give it a new lease on life. Here's the lowdown on how to make it shine again. Mix up a solution of boiling water, baking soda, and table salt in a bowl lined with aluminum foil. Let the piece soak for about 15 minutes and repeat this process 3 times. In between soaks, gently scrub any rough spots with a microfiber cloth. After the final soak, dry the piece off and rub on some toothpaste, baking soda, and peroxide. Buff out any remaining tarnish with a clean, dry microfiber cloth. Rinse it off, and now your piece is practically gleaming like a mirror. These aluminum foil boxes have nifty little tabs on the sides that make it super easy to grab a sheet without any hassle. It's like a fancy little bonus that makes the product a breeze and ensures you'll have a smooth sailing experience every time. Manual can openers often come with a handy built-in feature, also known as a bottle opener. It's like getting 2 tools in one. But did you know that this bottle opener actually has another useful function? It can help you loosen those stubborn, hard-to-open jars. Simply lift the lid slightly at a couple of points with the bottle opener, and then watch it as it effortlessly twists right off. Yeah! Okay, I just found that, apparently, you're supposed to save the first and last slices of a loaf of sliced bread for last. It's like a bread hack or something. Apparently, those end pieces help keep the rest of the bread fresher for longer, and you shouldn't eat them until you've devoured the rest of the loaf. So, next time you're making a sandwich, save those heel slices for the very end. Even bread eating needs a good strategy. Now look at those blue levers on the top rack of your dishwasher. I was curious about them too, and it turns out they're actually water bottle sprayers. They help to ensure that your bottles get a thorough cleaning and rinse during the wash cycle. Many vegetable peelers have those little scoops on top for taking out the eyes from potatoes. And here's a cool tip. You can actually use vegetable peelers in both directions to peel faster, but most people just stick to one direction. When using yellow mustard, make sure to push the lid of the bottle all the way open until you hear a satisfying click. This way the lid will stay securely in place and won't get in the way when you're dispensing the mustard onto your food. It's a simple step that can make your condiment experience hassle-free and enjoyable. So there. You know that little hole at the end of your pot or pan? Well, it's not just for show. You can actually use it as a handy holder for your forks and spoons. Next time you're cooking up a storm in the kitchen, just pop your utensils in that convenient little hole and keep them close at hand. Okay, just a heads up to remember to switch the direction of your ceiling fan for the changing weather, and to give it a good clean too. I've seen that a lot of folks found it helpful before to reverse the fan's direction by flipping a switch for different seasons. So this is just a friendly reminder to go ahead and do it again, pushing hot air down and pulling cold air up. When you're chowing down for some pizza, just tear off the top of the box and use it as a big old plate. You can even rip the box in half and fold it to save some leftovers for later. Well, that's it for today. What, you want to know more cool facts? Sure, but you'll have to subscribe and hit the bell to get more videos. I'm waiting. Go ahead. You know what? Onions can help fight off the flu. And apparently they can do it in various ways. Like you can put them in your socks, which somehow transfer their disease-fighting abilities through your feet, or you can drink onion-infused water to treat or prevent illnesses like colds or the flu. Well, unfortunately, these are all false beliefs. When it comes to directly combating cold or flu viruses, onions are unlikely to have a super impact, but overall, they're good for you. At the same time, onions do have a high concentration of quercetin. It's a pigment known for its potential anti-inflammatory properties. The correct way to open a new deodorant is by manually prying the top off. Nope. Removing the cap from a new deodorant stick involves twisting it. This move triggers the mechanism to push the safety cap off. This method helps avoid the hassle of manually prying the lid off, leaving deodorant residue under your nails. Now, what about the ideal time for using deodorant? You might think it's in the morning before you leave the house, but the optimal time to use deodorant is in the evening. At this time, your body temperature is cooler and your underarms are less moist, providing a greater opportunity for the deodorant to work effectively on your skin. Applying deodorant in the morning is still okay for those people who don't suffer from excessive sweating. So, if you sweat a moderate amount, there's no reason to change your daily routine. Now, keeping your shower curtain inside or outside the tub is a choice. But apparently, putting the shower curtain inside the tub reduces splashing and prevents water from escaping. The decorative cloth curtain belongs on the outside, whereas the plastic one should be on the inside. I mean, the whole idea is to prevent splashing water. Now, watering your plants on scorching hot days harms them. Rain showers occur during the summer season all over the world, and plants easily survive in these conditions. At the same time, when you water your plants on hot days, a substantial amount of liquid might evaporate before it can effectively benefit the plants. It's worth noting that this might be different for some sensitive indoor plants, such as African violets. It can result in leaf damage if you pour very cold water directly onto their leaves. Now, let's continue with another garden-related thing. Tree roots only reach as far as the outer edge of tree branches. Myth or fact? Well, it's a misconception. The root systems of many trees can extend well beyond the diameter of their crowns. For instance, magnolia trees can have roots that reach nearly 4 times their crown diameter, while the roots of red maple trees can exceed their crowns by up to 3 times. It's easier to shuck corn before it's boiled. Well, in the past, before the invention of modern cooking methods, many recipes involved pre-shucked corn. However, you can still grill it with or without the husk when it comes to recipes like grilled corn. A recommended technique is to partially shuck the corn, leaving only a few layers closest to the cob still attached. This method retains moisture while also providing appealing char marks on certain kernels. Alternatively, you can cook whole, unshucked ears of corn in the microwave or by boiling it, if you prefer. Moving on with everyday items you've been storing wrong. Take eggs, for example. Leaving them in the fridge door is good for them, right? No, this can lead to a roller coaster of temperatures every time you grab a snack. As for nuts, they're happier in the fridge. Heat can make them go all wonky, especially if they're the kind with lots of good fats. So, keeping them chilled helps them stay fresher and tastier. There's another common myth about nuts. It's said that roasting them decreases calories, proteins, carbs, and fibers they contain. But no, both cooked and uncooked nuts have similar amounts of those. The main goal of roasting nuts is to enhance their flavor and crunchiness. Keep this in mind though. When nuts are roasted, the healthy fats they contain may get damaged, and in the end, this can result in a reduced nutrient content. Now let's talk about avocados. Don't toss them in the fridge if you want them to ripen on schedule. They like hanging out at room temperature. We can also put an end to another avocado-related myth. Avocados are fattening. Yeah, they do have a high fat content compared with most other fruits. But this doesn't necessarily make them bad for your health. In fact, avocados contain what's often called healthy fats, which can help reduce harmful cholesterol levels in your body. Now let's carry on with diet and food. Swapping white table sugar for unrefined options like honey, maple syrup, and coconut sugar is supposed to make your diet healthier. Well, don't fall for this myth. Sugar is sugar, no matter whether it's refined or unrefined. While unrefined sugars may contain a few extra vitamins and minerals, the advantage is minimal because they're still considered added sugars. These added sugars can add up and contribute to your diet's recommended limit on daily sugar intake. Full-fat products aren't a one-way ticket to weight gain. That's a myth from the 80s and 90s. Some people are still scared of fat, but it shouldn't be the case. Fat plays a few essential roles, such as protecting our organs, maintaining cell membranes, supporting health and development, and helping absorb vital vitamins. The key is to choose heart-healthy unsaturated fats like olive oil, canola oil, nuts, nut butter, and avocados over saturated and trans fats, found in fatty meats and high-fat dairy products. There's a common belief that avoiding carbs entirely will make you lose weight. Well, that's a myth too. Low-carb diets have made their rounds, vilifying carbs, including fruits and whole grains. While some people have had success with these diets, it's usually because they've cut out highly processed carb-laden foods, like chips, cookies, and white bread. You know, all the stuff we like. Eliminating an entire food group isn't the best approach, as you might miss out on essential nutrients. Another belief is that you can get rid of body toxins with a detox diet. Well, sorry, most detox diets don't live up to their promises. Your body is already good at detoxing itself with the help of your liver, kidneys, and gastrointestinal tract. You don't need to buy any special products. If you want to rejuvenate your body, focus on eating more whole foods, staying hydrated, and cutting out highly processed junk food. Okay, I have 3 life hacks for you. These aren't myths. Firstly, you can stop a pot from boiling over by putting a wooden spoon over its top. Secondly, if you position a cheese grater vertically, there's a better way to use it. Lay it down horizontally. This way the process will be less taxing for your arms. My next tip is about your yoga mat. Leaving it in a hot, humid spot like your car can ruin it. Keep it cool and dry for maximum yoga zen. Now, many people know they should keep their fancy fragrance bottles away from direct sunlight. So, some people store them in the refrigerator. This isn't the right move, unless you want your perfume to lose its overall depth. I mean, yes, fragrances don't like heat or humidity, but the interior of a refrigerator is too dry and cold for them. So it has the opposite effect and breaks down the scent molecules. And please, resist the urge to rub a bit of perfume on your wrist. It may be tempting, but rubbing your fragrances is a big no-no. This practice not only muddles and weakens the scent, it also causes the top notes to evaporate quickly. They say that if you have old photos in your house, the right way to stash them is by putting them in cardboard boxes. Well, this is a misconception. These types of boxes can damage your memories. Go for acid-free archival boxes if you want your pictures to look as good as new. The next one is more of a hack than a myth. It turns out dishwashers are more user-friendly than we give them credit for. When you're loading or unloading the dishwasher, you can save your poor back from unnecessary strain by pulling out the basket. You might think that foundations are safe at room temperature, but if you store your foundation in a makeup bag, heat can mess with the oils in your makeup. So pop this product in a cool drawer. Eye creams and serums can benefit from the chill too. Organic or homemade cosmetics without preservatives should also be refrigerated, but always check expiration dates. I know I do.
There are some inventions that make us say, dude, why didn't I come up with this? And then you have the next question. Why don't we have it in my hometown yet? I'm talking about things like splash-proof toilets, liquid trees, and skyscrapers with slides. Yep, they're all pretty real, and you're about to fall in love with them. Have you ever used a public bathroom in the summer in your shorts and sandals and got splashed? It happens to the best of us, so no worries. If only there was some solution to this problem. Perhaps a urinal with a small hole so no liquid goes where it shouldn't. Looks pretty yucky and painful to me. An assistant professor at the University of Waterloo, Zhao Pen, and his colleagues came up with a way better solution for this sensitive issue. Their designs were inspired by physics and dogs. When a stream of liquid moves on a solid surface at a shallow angle, the splash is reduced, and the smaller the angle, the fewer splashes you'll see. You can even minimize them to a 0. And when dogs do their business, they lift their hind legs and do it on the vertical surface of a tree or a wall. I don't know if they actually care about it, but this does reduce the splash. Good job, Pluto! The team invented several models and presented them at the American Physical Society conference, and it was a hit. The inventors say that all of the models are no splash, but their favorites are the slice of apple and the one that looks like a tall and slender J with a narrow and long opening. The new urinals aren't just super cool, but also more sustainable. You won't have to wash the floor with water, chemicals, and human energy after every use, which is a win-win. Here's another innovative public toilet idea for you, this time from Japan. They have completely transparent walls, which means, yes, you can see everything that's going on inside, from the toilet itself to the hand wash sink. It sounds pretty creepy, but the idea was actually to create a safe restroom in the park. Visitors can see if there's someone hiding inside before entering, and also check if the toilet is clean before entering. When you go inside and lock the door, the walls change color to opaque, and no one will be able to see you. They used glass covered with PDLC film to make the walls, which allowed them to go from being transparent to safely intense using electricity. Alright, now you've nearly convinced me to try one of those magical toilets. Oh, and they also double as excellent lanterns in the dark, shining bright in different colors. Bring a couple to my local park, I don't mind. Take a deep breath. If you don't like what you're breathing in, do something about it. That must have been exactly what the smart guys at the University of Belgrade, Serbia thought and invented the liquid tree. The liquid 3, not the pun and laugh a bit, consists of a glass tank filled with over 150 gallons of water, some microalgae, and a solar panel which provides electricity to a small pump. The microalgae need heating, so just in case there's no sun and the temperatures drop, the photobioreactor is also connected to the city grid. Microalgae work hard to do some photosynthesis magic and convert water and CO2 into oxygen, and then it goes into the atmosphere. The liquid tree also comes with a bench to sit on and enjoy its work. The liquid 3 needs more work than a regular tree in the park. They need to replace the water and microalgae almost completely every month and a half. And they also need to take out the biomass that is the byproduct of the process, and let's admit, nothing can replace those blooming babes in spring. If you ever find yourself casually wandering in the forests of Estonia, don't freak out if you see some giant megaphones. These wooden acoustic giants were set 3 hours away from the country's capital by interior architecture students. That's way cooler than the hamster roller coaster I once built for a science fair, I have to admit. More than half of Estonia is covered by woods, and they're pretty proud of this natural wealth. So it's not the first art project of this kind, and there was a winding, elevated pathway and a faceted woodland cabin. The idea of the megaphones is to crank up the natural sounds of a forest and also to serve as a rest spot for hikers. These wooden beauties are large enough to host several people. And hey, if you walk this far into the woodland, you'll be thankful for this. The students were given a task to invent some concepts of a forest library. They built the megaphones off-site and brought them to their permanent spots. They're set in such a way that sounds from 3 directions meet in the center and create a cool, natural surround sound effect. Have you ever helped your friends move into a new apartment in a building without an elevator? Then you're gonna love this one. Houses in Amsterdam have hooks on top. This is a medieval invention for pulling stuff up the houses. The simple tech consisting of a wheel and a rope still functions now, centuries later. Why not just use the stairs? Well, if you get inside one of those narrow Amsterdam buildings, you'll see there's hardly enough room to comfortably ascend, and you can forget about even trying to pull a table on top. Back in the medieval ages, pretty much like now, only rich people could afford housing around the canals in the best parts of the city. Those people were mostly traders and used the canals for their business. They stored goods in the same houses they lived in, and with regular floods, they had to find a way to keep the goods dry. And that's why they needed to invent something to lift furniture, goods, boxes, instruments, and food on the upper floors, and pull it in through fully open, wide windows. The lifting tech is one of the reasons the houses in Amsterdam are leaning forward. This position helped keep both the lifted stuff and the walls and windows safe during transportation. They didn't have to touch each other. The gables also assisted in the process and had to be made firm to withstand all the heavy weight. And in case you're wondering what gables are, they're sections of wall between the edges of a dual-pitched roof, typical for Amsterdam. Folks who live or work in skyscrapers have the opposite problem. Getting out of the building can take a while as you wait in line for the elevator. A slide going from the top of a skyscraper could be a solution. In 2016, they added one outside of the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles at the height of 1,000 feet. The see-through slide, made of glass just 1 inch thick, was built to withstand hurricane-force winds and earthquakes. It was built to bring tourists to the building, though not for the convenience of office workers. And then they decided it wasn't such a great idea, so the slide was removed as part of the reconstruction of the building. A Hong Kong photographer and editor who became famous online went even wilder with his imagination and designed a double-decker bus with a slide. It's not his only futuristic photography masterpiece, as he likes to play with perspective and proportions. I can totally see myself sliding away when someone asks me to pay for the ride.
In some ways, the United States is a whole different world, totally different from every other place. So let's take a look at what's normal there that baffles people from the outside. One of the first things a foreigner notices when entering the country is flags. American flags everywhere. On buildings like schools and houses, and on clothes like shorts, t-shirts, you name it. Throughout history, Americans have changed 27 flags. The current American flag was only adopted in 1960 and is so far the longest-lasting flag of the country. It wasn't created by the authorities, though. In 1958, there was a contest for a design of the new American flag, and the winning flag was made by a 17-year-old high school student from Ohio. The reason why Americans love their flag so much is national pride. But why not so many countries do the same? Well, some countries avoid displaying them for historical reasons. Other countries only raise the flag on special occasions to highlight the importance of the event. Still, some countries display their flag as often as Americans do. In Denmark, people are quite proud of their flag too. They decorate the winter holiday tree and birthday cakes with them, and you can always find stickers with Danish flags, red and white candles, and other goodies with the flag in a grocery store. People in Sweden are also very much into their flag and have flagpoles everywhere. Now, let's go to a restaurant, shall we? Many things there are very specific to the States. Like, for example, tons of ice in every drink. Turns out there is some history to this preference. America has always had a lot of ice as a resource, since New England's lakes and rivers have a lot of those during winter. Centuries ago, before refrigerators and other helpful cooling machines, that kind of cold resource was very valuable, and the States started exporting ice to other parts of the world. And also, of course, consuming it themselves. They started to put ice in their hot drinks, in contrast to the British, who were always drinking their beverages hot. The ice in the drinks has become an American thing, and it was also considered a rich person's drink. Yep, the ice would also show a person's status. Of course, with time, when refrigerators appeared, ice became available to everyone, and Americans started to add it to their drinks commonly. The habit remained, but also, ice drinks are very refreshing, which is especially important in the hot south of the country. But if you come from abroad and don't want your drink freezing cold, always specify it to the waiter. The next striking thing is the huge portions that are served, and there is a reason for that too. It wasn't always like this, but in the second half of the last century, due to pesticides and fertilizers, farmers started to be able to grow more food than they used to. The government caught on, subsidizing them to grow even more food. So, the amount of available food increased. Over time, companies started to increase the sizes of their portions. Why serve less food and get less money if you can serve a bit more and also charge more? That's good for business, and it's a win-win. Customers get more food for just a little bit more money. So, larger portions stuck. Okay, now we need to take a little toilet break. And, surprisingly, there are a lot of foreigners who find American toilets weird. First, what's up with those huge gaps in bathroom stalls? Let's start with the more obvious part. gaps on the bottom of the doors. Those are quite common, even outside the US, and they serve several purposes. First, you can see if there's a person inside without trying to break into an occupied stall. Second, it provides some ventilation and makes it easier to clean the floor in the bathrooms. The gaps on the sides are more questionable. Of course, people on the outside can't see everything going on behind the door, but still, there's not much privacy whatsoever. In most other countries, the gaps are either negligible or non-existent. So what's up with them in America? I did some research. Some sources say that since every inch of material is expensive, wide gaps are made to reduce the costs of bathroom stalls. Other sources say that when people feel exposed like this, they have fewer incentives to do something illegal in public bathrooms. Next observation, American toilets have way more water in their bowls in comparison to, for example, European ones. The reason is that those types of toilets use different flashing systems, and an American one needs more water to flush effectively. In many countries, especially in Asia, most bathrooms have bidets, which are used for after-toilet cleaning, and tourists don't understand why Americans wouldn't adopt those too. After all, if you step in mud, you'll go and wash your foot instead of just wiping it off with a tissue. The same logic works here. Also, it reduces toilet paper usage. So it's more sustainable and it's environmentally friendly. Some say there's a strong stigma in America around bidets that is extremely hard to overcome. Others say that toilets in the US don't have enough room to install a bidet, so they don't have those, especially if there are other well-known ways. Before we leave the restaurant, we need to tip the waiter. Tipping in the United States is way more common than in most other countries. You're expected to tip any service person who helped you with something. While some kind of tipping exists in some other countries, the extent of it is smaller. And there are also countries like Japan and Denmark where tipping isn't a thing at all. Those countries have minimum wage laws that dictate decent wages employers must pay their workers. This way, the need to pay money to service stuff isn't pushed onto the customers. By the way, here's one more fact about the prices. Probably the craziest thing in the States tourists have to adapt to are prices in stores. The tax isn't included into the displayed price and is added on top while checking out. So people who are short on money can't pre-calculate the price they will have to pay to make sure that they have enough money. But really, why is it so? The main reason behind such a weird policy is transparency. This way, taxpayers know how much tax they pay and can resist raising the tax rate in case it comes on the national agenda. Also, it allows buyers to compare the costs of products across states fairly, since tax rates may differ. So, if the tax isn't included, you compare the actual bread costs between Alabama and Alaska, for example. In some places in America, it's not very easy to get around unless you travel by car. In some regions, there's often no sidewalk taking you to the closest convenience store, or a crosswalk, allowing you to cross the road right in front of the store. The main reason for that is probably the fact that the United States is a big country with vast lands and everything is spread out. Neighborhoods can be scattered around, wide suburban territories quite far away from one another, so that's already far from being walking distance, and sidewalks aren't needed because, yes, no one's walking. Studies show that Spanish or Germans walk at least twice as much as Americans, but in those countries, everything is way closer. And last and not least, you guessed it, the imperial system. It's based on the human body. A foot is an average foot size of a person, so you might think it's quite intuitive for anyone. Well, no. Foreigners are incredibly confused with feet, inches, gallons, and Fahrenheits, and tend to convert it all to the familiar metric system. Well, in this sense, the British are even more confusing. Those guys use both imperial and metric systems. For height, it's mostly feet and inches, but for weight, kilograms. Great Britain used to have the imperial system, but later they were forced to switch to the metric system. So now, they're using a combination. Whatever helps to be more precise.